Hello and welcome to Old Man Energy. I'm your host, Flint Anderson. How's that for a throwback to the intro? Um, I am here today with Rick Balmer. And I'm super excited about this episode. Rick and I met right the very week or two before I started the podcast. I was still in training, so to speak, and we still haven't shared some of those abysmal videos yet. But we met on vacation and ended up having a lot in common and stayed in touch, which I know that rarely ever happens. Ended up meeting up again this year on vacation as well and have stayed in even closer touch. So welcome, Rick, and tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. Who are you? What do you do? And what makes you interesting?
Oh, thanks for having me, Flint. Well, what I do is I have a commercial helicopter pilot's license, so that's one of my hobbies. I'm a dive master. I'm currently setting up for what's called Opaz World, which is going to be my personal take on not a podcast per se, but a YouTube channel. Um, and I'm just super stoked about this. This is a new project for me. Before I got into all this, I worked for the state of Pennsylvania for about 22 years and had the best time of working for somebody else. So once that switched out, a few people that mentored me slightly and were very friendly to me pushed me in a direction and said, you know what, you got to go try stuff. And I thank you and your wife for that. And you're the cause and the reason why I started writing a book and also why I started doing Opaz World. So,
Very cool. Well, thank you for that. And honestly, we may have been the catalyst for that, but it takes you and the effort to do that and to put it out there. And
oh, absolutely.
following your, and I want to talk more about the Opus World project because I think that's a very cool thing. I think people are going to get a lot of value out of that and a lot of entertainment. You and your wife you have a very unique look on the world and you have fun. And a lot of folks our age stop having fun.
Well, the part of the thing is that as you've met my wife, she literally asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up when I was 38.
I'm
And
hoping to
that's when
figure
I
that out.
became a helicopter pilot.
You became a helicopter pilot at 38 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I assumed that it was something you'd done for a long time.
No, I was 38 years old, and she looked at me one day and she said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a pilot. She goes, well, let's see what we can do about it. And we put our heads together and we made it happen. Took about a year and a half-ish to make it to where I could be a commercial helicopter pilot. And we fought through all the money and everything else. And at the end of it, I could go start the rotors up anytime and go fly. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. How much does it cost to become a commercial helicopter pilot?
It's disgusting. Back when I did it, which was 10, 20, 15 years ago, we were looking at about $450 an hour for the helicopter and probably another $60 an hour for the instructor. And I have to let you know, for just training purposes, I have about 150 hours of just training.
Good Lord. Okay. That is definitely the definition of chasing your dream. If
That's
you
the
had,
definition of being committed.
yeah, what's the old thing? Bacon and eggs.
Yep, yep.
The chicken is involved. The pig is committed. That's
Well,
awesome, though. That's awesome. So, what made you choose flying a helicopter as opposed to flying an airplane?
so that's a great question because everybody always asks that very question. It's like, why a helicopter? So, the wife got me a learn to fly intro course on airplane. So I went over to the local airport. I got the plane. I took off. I flew around. I came back in. We landed. Great, no problem. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like driving a car. Anybody can pretty much fly an airplane. It does feel like driving a car. So then I went over to a place here. I'm actually in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we went to Lancaster, which is about 45 minutes from here. And I got in an old Bell 47 helicopter. You remember MASH?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got to fly. The very first helicopter I got to fly was a MASH helicopter, a Bell 47. No
Okay.
BS. It was awesome. So I get in this thing, and it was like a monkey doing a math problem. All the controls are going everywhere, the helicopter's going everywhere. And I looked over at this guy as he settled it down, and he looks at me and he goes, what do you think? I said, I want to learn to fly this beast because it's fighting me the whole entire way. And it's exactly what I wanted to do. And then she said to me, she goes, are you sure about this? I said, well, we're going to go and check it out and find one more person. And I'm going to go fly one more time. So I flew a plane one more time. got out of the plane and went, screw this, not interested. It's got to go. And now I went back to the helicopter world, and I met a gentleman that was basically my mentor through the whole entire thing. And he's kind of like Yoda. He literally flew nuclear fighter bombers. He flew for U.S. Air. He flew helicopters in the Air National Guard, and he became my instructor. And at that point in time, there was no turning back. He and I linked up. We were buddies, and instantaneously zipping through the fields of Lebanon and Lancaster, PA, learning how to fly helicopters and putting them wherever I wanted to when I wanted to. So
Very cool. So you want to be a helicopter pilot for the coolness factor.
I think that it does have some cool of a factor into it. But in all honesty, there is a view that you get in a helicopter you don't get in a plane. Because in an airplane, you got that whole console in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
In a helicopter, you look down at your feet and you're looking down towards the ground. You have this big bubble right in front of you, and all you got is glass in front of you.
That's
And
that's a different experience.
and when you see the sunset and the sunrise in a helicopter, and it's that perfect morning, you cannot beat the feeling. It's better than any drug on the planet.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I can feel that level of excitement coming out of you. That's great.
Mhm.
So now you said you worked for the state of Pennsylvania for 22 years. What'd you do for that?
I was unfortunately an IT guy, so I was the geeky dude that sat around in a room and made sure computers worked and servers worked, and then I did a whole lot of started getting into like the management end of things towards the end of my career there, and I wasn't loving that part of it. I like to work with the computers. I like working with the people. I just didn't like to go and say, well, all right, we got to go and buy, 150 computers. Let's go and talk to these guys and get the deal put together. And and then we got to do changes on these servers. So let's put the paperwork together. That was what they had me doing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. It's not my world anymore.
I
And
was
in all
shocked.
honesty, I walked out of there and everybody's like, you leave the job for 22 years. And I walked out of the door and I kid you not, it was like this weight came off my shoulders. There was a mild couple days of confusion because I was so regimented in having a job for so many years. And thank God my wife is awesome because she turned around and looked at me. She goes, take a few off, figure out what you want to do, and go do what you want to do. I can't ask for anything better.
That's cool. And having a supportive spouse is incredible. It makes those of us that are true dreamers, it makes our lives a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Although there are sometimes when we'll tell them it's not making our life easier because they're pushing us to go do what we're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right. I get that.
Out of everything that we've talked about, and when I first met you, I remember we met at Universal Orlando, and I think we were just swimming in the pool and started talking.
I think it was something to do with, cool tattoo, dude.
Yeah, probably because I'm shy, and that's why I have my tattoos because I don't like people to talk to me about 'em. But we started talking, and I believed the helicopter pilot, and I believed the commercial diver, and then you told me you were an IT guy, and I had trouble believing that because of your personality.
I can understand that. It's a conflict. A lot of the guys I worked with were super nerds. And I have the capability of being a super nerd, but I don't want to be stuck behind a desk somewhere. It's not my world. Can I do it? Sure. Is it going to be the love of my life? No. It made a few bucks for me over the years, but that's about it.
And that's a good thing. Sometimes we do stuff because we have to, and sometimes we do stuff because we're good at it.
Yeah.
So what was the driving force behind you making this? I mean, because that's a shift. I mean, you talked about some inspiration, and you talked about some of the influence that our conversations have had. And again, I'm going to thank you that I'm going to defer to you on that. But we all know that all of that, most people don't take action on those things. They're comfortable, they're staying where they're at. So what was it that drove you just finally to go, okay, instead of shifting from one position to another similar comfortable position, okay, I'm going to go try this out. What was that driving force?
I hate to openly admit this in public, but my lovely stepson is probably one of my hardest driving forces for starting Opaz World.
Okay.
He said, you have a lot of things that you guys do. You like showing them to people. He goes, why are you not doing a YouTube channel? He goes, you could do it. He goes, it's simple. You can do it. Pops, come on. And, he pushed me a little bit. And finally I was like, all right. And it's to give it a backstory, probably when he was 7 or 8 years old. I was the hockey dad that would be, he played ice hockey. And I was the hockey dad that would sit back and go, "Hey, you got to do this. Hey, you got to do that." And finally, my wife said, "If you're good enough to, scream about this, then get your butt out there and do it." I couldn't even ice skate. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. So that attitude of, all right, I'm going to do this has been there forever today. And I jumped out there and I went to learn to skate programs. I went to learn to coach ice hockey programs. I wound up coaching ice hockey for years with him because I opened my mouth up, started saying something. My wife says, "Well, go do it, big man." And that's what happened. So then years later, my son's like, "Well, okay, you can do this, big man. Go get it done." It's the whole, somebody nudged me in the right direction, said, "Let's do it. Why not?" You know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like the hockey analogy. I use that a lot when I'm talking about you want to learn how to ice skate, go play hockey.
Uh-huh.
Your brain just figures out how to skate because you're chasing the puck.
It definitely helps a lot. It's the only safe way for my wife. We put her in full pads, and she's always still laying on the ice somehow. So we just let that go.
I love skating for whatever. I am athletically declined as a general rule.
I gotcha.
I tell everybody I am a black belt, but I was a reluctant martial artist. It took me 8 years to do what it takes most people 18 months to do. But I could skate for whatever reason. You strap some wheels or blades to my feet, and it just makes sense to me. I don't know why, but I love to skate. I love hockey.
I actually have the ability, because of coaching for so long. I actually skate better backwards and talking to somebody because of coaching than I do forwards. It's the funniest thing. I get out on the ice and I start skating backwards, talking to whoever I'm with, and it's more natural than skating forwards because of, hey, let's do this, hey, do that, and I'm not even looking where I'm going half the time. I'm surprised I haven't killed myself or somebody in the process, but yeah, yeah,
Those mad dad skills that you develop, those weird things that you're good at. And you don't understand it. So
absolutely.
we I don't know. We spent some time together swimming. We spent some time together at the parks.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time together talking about dreams, talking about
Mhm.
goals, and that's really the point of having you on this podcast. I think that's where Opa's world came from. I'm assuming Opa is grandkids. Is that
So, I'm
that
of German descent, and Opa actually translates into two things. Either one is old man,
okay?
so the other one is grandfather, and
Oh,
that's what my grandson calls me, as Opa.
Opa. Okay. See,
Yeah,
I didn't know that was German. I just figured that was a grandkid. That's how I ended up being Popper or Pop Pop.
yeah, exactly. But that actually was the fault of the wife. She said, "I want to have a grandparent's name without sounding old."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, we'll just use Opa and Oma, and it sounds chill, and everybody doesn't think that sounds very old, although it translates out to old man and old woman. It's okay."
Yeah, Des is Neen and Neener for that reason.
Gotcha.
So, we we try to pick our own nicknames. The grandkids end up giving them to us anyway. Sounds like you guys might have nailed it though, so that's perfect. So where do you see this, and not necessarily this project, but you're in a completely different phase of life right now. So where do you see
Yeah.
this being? What's going to be the end goal for Rick? Where now that you're chasing your dreams, what do you see? What do you want to do?
So, of course, I like to travel. That's the big one. And what this is going to do in the beginning, um, with Opa's World specifically, is I started a list of places in just Pennsylvania right now of oddball things that I want to go see. And then I'm going to do videos about them. Primary example is the very first video that I just put out, actually this morning, was her name was Evelyn Sharp, and this lady had flown a P-38 from Long Beach, California, going to New Jersey, and they stopped at the airport here to get gas. When she took off, this is in 19 April of 1944. They were taking the planes from being built in Long Beach, coming through here, going to Jersey. Well, in the process of her taking off, she lost an engine and crashed and unfortunately passed. There's a memorial here in the area. I've lived here forever and a day, probably 30 years, and there's a memorial for her. Had no idea it was there. I just found it by accident searching for stuff online. So that was going to be, hey, that's the first video. It's this hidden little gem. Here's the website for it. Here's what it looks like. This is where she took off from. This is what happened. This is where the memorial's at. Something simple, but it's something that most people wouldn't even know about. And that was the kind of thing, like, I have a habit of looking and finding stuff that is unusual, but not really weird. And so I can go and find this oddball memorial, or, like we've talked in the past, I went to found Tank America where I could drive a tank down in Orlando. I find these things. So why am I not putting this out on video and going, hey, I'm putting this out here. Check this stuff out. And it could be something as simple as a local memorial, or it could be something as crazy as, shooting machine guns somewhere. It could be anything. It's a matter of getting people interested in not only just history, but just the world around them. A lot of people are just so busy with working and working and working, and they're forgetting there's a whole world out there to get a hold of and go see things, go do things. So why are we not doing that? And that's where I'm going with this. I want to make sure that I'm putting this out there and going, hey, you know what? This is a cool place. Go check this stuff out. And I'm not worried about a kickback from these guys. I want people to go see stuff. I want somebody to wake up one morning and go, you know what? I saw that video that Rick put out there, Opa, and put that out there and said, hey, I want to go check this place out. Where's that website at? Oh, it's the link to his YouTube. Click, go. And that's the kind of thing I want to see, because it can inspire somebody to see something and do something they've never done before. They can learn something. You always grow when you learn, and why not? That's the big end game for me. Is it's not about money. It's not about anything but getting out there and getting people to do stuff and live. Stop worrying about your everyday world. Stop worrying about, oh my gosh, it's the end of the universe because somebody got elected. Get over it. You're going to wake up tomorrow, but you got to go and live. That's it.
And I can't add anything to that philosophy. I love it. Obviously live it every day. Been talking about it for years. And
Mhm.
it's funny that you mentioned money, because ultimately we have to have money to live. It's not really
Right.
important to us until we don't have it, just like air.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be expensive to travel. Like you said,
Right.
there's these hidden gems, and every place has this. There's places you can go locally to just go and explore and learn and do something outside of your daily routine
Right.
and enjoy it.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Like, a memorial is kind of an oddball way to start, but it was like, who knew it was there? I can guarantee the people that live there are the only people that live close by it are the only people that know it's there. There's a whole entire park there with walkways through it and all kinds of stuff. There was nobody there when I got there. I walked around, there was not a single soul you could find. And I'm going, this is the kind of place I want to find. I want to find those little gems and tell people about them. The roadside America thought process, you
Uh,
know.
the- that attraction. Have you read American Gods by Neil Gaiman?
Not yet, no.
That entire book is based on roadside attractions.
Oh, wow.
That is right up your alley. Put that on your reading list. And for anybody else that's listening, I'll put a link in the description below. But the American Gods by Neil Gaiman is amazing. If you like travel at all, if you like this type of travel that we're talking about, the premise behind it is people that immigrated to America brought their gods with them, and as those people have passed or as time has gone on, the gods are left over here. And in America, we don't have any ancient historical places that have supposedly spiritual power. So our spiritual places are all the roadside attraction. It's a very interesting concept, and it's a very entertaining book. But it talks about Sea Rock City. It talks about the House on the Rock. Several different places that are awesome roadside attractions. And growing up out west, roadside attractions were everywhere. There was some really weird stuff out there.
Well, I'm looking for the weird stuff, so I'm gonna have to put stuff on the list. Anytime I go somewhere, I'm gonna go, hey, Flint, I'm heading to Montana. What do you think?
That'd be great. There's all kinds of fun stuff to do, and we like to travel just as much. I mean, that's another thing that we had in common, and we recommend. We sound like travel agents for the place, so I'm looking forward to your take on it, because some of your social media is already doing that. This is not something that you haven't been doing. You've been posting up your pictures on Facebook, and you and your wife take goofy pictures and always look like you're having a great time together. So it's going to be a lot of fun looking at that.
Absolutely. Oh, and I totally forgot. Because of the German background, we belong to what's called a Liederkranz, which is a German society.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be posting stuff from them as well from their festivals. We just did a dance festival with they call them Schulpaters, which is a dance form, and they just did the dance festival on Friday night. And let me tell you what, you haven't seen anything till you see these guys in the traditional garb doing these dances and having fun, and the happiest people you've ever seen. We all get together, everybody sits down and has a beer together, has food, dancers are going on, music's going on. Happy times. That's what we're looking for. Happiness bottled up is just perfect.
You posted pictures of that, didn't you? I think you were dressed in lederhosen.
No, not this time. I
Not
wasn't
this
later
time.
hosted, but that was Oktoberfest.
Oh, that was October. I see. I'm already getting your travel confused. You haven't even started the YouTube channel yet. Just
I know.
brand new.
This is going to be on fire.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. And you guys are we're gonna miss you. You guys are coming back here for a weekend.
Thursday.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you. Well, it's granddaughter's 18th birthday trumps visiting.
Oh, absolutely. Not even a question.
We
I
tried
get
to
that.
figure out a way to do both. It was like, well, maybe if we do this, I'm like, nah, let's can't really.
In all honesty, I gave you the answer when I talked to you last time. It just gives me a reason to come back.
Yeah, that works. That works because we can go be goofballs together. We Orlando's a fun place, and it's I don't know, it's close to our hearts. I know it's close to your guys' heart too. So talk about that. Talk about the difference in experience for a minute between the resort experience and the historical, which like your markers or the museums, and you usually combine both because I know you like the Space Center and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Talk about what those two mean to you differently and what you like about them.
So, as far as Orlando goes, it started when about 2018 is when we started coming down to Orlando all the time. And the wife is a big Harry Potter fan, and we'll just end that conversation there. We became pass holders because somebody needed to go see Harry Potter World yet again, and do her wizarding and whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool, we'll run the parks. That's what we were doing for the first year or two, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, there's HHN Halloween Horror Nights. I'm digging that. Cool, let's go for HHN only. All right, so we're doing it. Oh, Mardi Gras. Okay, we're gonna do Mardi Gras in February. Those are the two times that we run into everybody when we come down there. We started making friends. Obviously, I'm not exactly not outgoing. Um, and we started making friends, and it was like, okay, well, now that we've done the parks a zillion times, what else can we do? And that was my thought process started happening. And I'm going, I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. It's not my vibe. I want to go and see stuff and then move on. So the next step was, well, I get a day at Kennedy Space Center and you get 3 days at Universal. How's that work? You know? And she's like, okay, cool. All right. So I get a day at Kennedy Space Center and we're going to go to Cocoa Beach for a day. And then you get 4 days at Universal. And that's how the game started becoming. And then it was find little places. Like we found Icon Park and we went to Icon Park for lunch. And then we went to different places throughout Orlando, restaurants. And oh, look, it's a rainy day. Where the hell am I going to go in Orlando? Oh, there's a Ripley's Museum. Let's go there. That's the kind of thing and off the spur of the moment is how that happens. And there is a big difference also, and I don't want to say it in a negative way, but in Pennsylvania, it's very gray for 3/4 of the year here. And when we get down there, it's very vibrant and colorful and lively, and everybody's so alive that it's addictive to be there for us. It's like we want to get back there because it just feels so good to be around a bunch of people that are chilling, having a good time, doing fun things. So that's how we broke out into doing different things was because of I got bored of going to Universal constantly. I love Universal, absolutely do, and I have great memories there. Met some great folks there, and I just decided I wanted to see more of Florida. I wound up going to one of the first ones was a place called Machine Gun America in Kissimmee. And I got videos of her and I shooting things, and don't give my wife a machine gun ever. No, she is terrifyingly accurate, scary. Then we went and did Tank America. I tried for 3 years because of COVID. They had to close the place down, and I wound up doing Tank America in 22 or 23. Because I wanted to go do something different. I got to go crush a car with a tank. I mean, come on, how cool is that?
How cool is that? That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last time we were down, she was like, "Oh, do you want to go do this?" And I'm like, I'm out on this one, and you'll be surprised when I say it, but it was a fully acrobatic hour-long flight. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not into it because I don't know the pilot. So
Given your background, I can understand that.
yeah, I was like, hey, if I do the pilot, or maybe I understand he's running a business, but yeah, I gotta get an intro at least in there. But yeah, that's how it started spreading. That's how you see the little bits and pieces started happening. Then it was family trips around here. We would go to there was a coal mine. We take videos of the coal mine we went to, or we went to some park, or we found something. And that's how the Facebook page goes, which you've seen progressing and progressing. Well, we're gonna just liven it up and go, put it out on YouTube now. It's gonna be videos, and I'm ready to go. I've got me a good camera. I got a little gimbal ready to set up. I've got a microphone and a whole setup of video here. I'm set.
Watch out, that's addictive.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it.
With a bunch of stuff. Oh, I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try that now. But it all, as long as you use it, it all ends up good. Let's talk about this for a second, because a lot of people travel. So the running joke for people that travel together is fighting. Like, they have the shirts for people that go camping together. I'm sorry for what I said while you were trying to back the camper up, or any of those shirts. Or even, and you've run into this at the parks, I'm sure you see the wife or the kids are super happy, and the dad's got his hand shoved in his pocket and he's just being miserable, or vice versa. It's like,
Yeah.
you're not doing what I want, so I'm going to punish you for doing and try and make you have as bad a time. And you guys overcame that in a very unique way, because when you go to Universal, even if you've been there 1,000 times, like, okay, she's having a great time, I'm going to have a good time while I'm here with her. I'm not going to make her time miserable because I got to go.
Right.
We have a compromise. I enjoy going here. We're going to go there. And she doesn't do that to you either. You guys have a good time wherever you're going. And I think people really lose that. But I don't know if it's because they really want to hurt each other, or they just have no idea how to travel together.
So
What do you think?
I'm going to give you my original thought from that my mom actually gave me many, many moons ago. A cousin of mine and myself used to go and just do stupid shit as kids. And one of the things that we're famous for was just playing in a mud puddle. And mom's always said, you have a good time in a mud puddle. I said, I can have a good time anywhere if I can have a good time in a mud puddle. And I will make the best out of the worst possible situation. It might come out dark humor at times, but I will make it the best out of the worst possible situation. And Pam has slowly come out of her shell over the years to also step into that, because for a long time it was like, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. Now it's, well, we'll give it a try and see what happens. And then next thing you know, she's having a ball. So we've learned over, oh my gosh, it's 34 years together, and that you have to have that compromise. You have to have that ability to go, hey, why are they so interested in this? Because it must be something. Even if it's going to Universal a million times, you know what? I'll find something cool. Oh, you know what's cool about this? We're going to Universal. I might not be having a great day, but I get to go to Louis Pizza because I love their freaking pizza. That's how I put it.
No pressure to go on the rides. I'm a pass holder. Let's go look at the cool stuff that we don't normally look at.
Exactly. Stop and watch the shows or do things like that. It's like, who cares? The big one, the prime example was Halloween Horror Nights. We were just down there for that back in September, and it was fun the first night. It was like, okay, we went out and we hit about 3 or 4 houses, and I was like, I'm done. And she's like, yeah, me too. Let's go do something else. And we went out and had a drink and sat down and met a bunch of people. It was great. Met up with a bunch of friends down there, ran around Halloween Horror Nights and did all 10 houses with a certain couple. And had a blast. As a matter of fact, just to put this out there, she's like, she's not real happy y'all aren't going to be there this time around, but she said, we'll get down there in February, we'll hook up.
That sounds amazing. And we always go to Halloween Horror Nights. And yes, we had a blast that night too. We had so much fun.
It was
it
so
really
good.
It's a different vibe depending on what it is. Sometimes when you go, if you have more than one day on a ticket, and anytime you go to parks that are that expensive, always get multi-day tickets for whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
Because if you get tired, you don't want to be pressured to finish. You don't want to be pressured to do things when you're not having fun, because it ruins the whole experience.
True story.
And at Halloween Horror Nights, there's so many people in the parks that whenever you sit down and you're talking to people, you're going to see it. Sometimes it's packed, and sometimes you don't notice because you're having a good time. But you want the ability to make those choices. One thing about that particular trip, whenever we met at the pool earlier that day, I think it's the first time we'd seen you guys in a year.
Yeah.
And it was like the four of us got excited seeing each other, but it was like kids running up and talking and greeting each other. But you said she's come out of her shell. She must have repeated during the conversation. You and I were talking. We were all talking to each other, but the girls were really talking to each other more. But she must have repeated 4 or 5 times over that couple hours that we were standing there in the pool talking how much of an introvert she was, and neither one of them shut up the whole time.
Uh-huh. And that's okay. Sometimes people gel, and the best part about it is she's. I come from a family of huggers.
Mhm.
Everybody hugs everybody, and you should have seen the look on her face the first time she had to put up with a family reunion. So she's come a long way. And she's the first one. Oh, I'm not really, I'm more of an introvert, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then we get you to meet somebody you like, and next thing you know, you're buddies for life and everything's good. So calm down there and you'll be all right.
And that's all because you're experiencing different things and
Hmm.
trying different stuff and trying different experiences. People would never come out of their shell. So
Absolutely.
we always enjoy spending time with you guys. But that was kind of comical. I think we might have even commented on it then. It's like she keeps forgetting to be an introvert, so she has to remind herself.
I do have to admit, I think the favorite part of the pool experience was us fools sitting in the rain, having a good old time, having a conversation while everybody else is going, "Oh my God, it's raining."
That never ceases to amaze me. It's always so fun. As long as there's no lightning, we won't get out of the pool. I love sitting in the pool and talking and just relaxing. But man, it
Yeah.
started pouring on us there. It got kind of cold.
Yeah.
That one was a bit much. But yes, the pool was completely empty and we were just goofing off sitting there in the rain. Even the bartenders were like, well, okay. But the wind, when it started whipping up and blowing stuff off the bar, it was time to get out at that point because then it was cold.
Yeah, we had to make a concession at that point.
Yeah, I was like, nah, never mind. We're done. We're gonna go sit up here. So, and we've done that was this year.
Hmm.
And then I think we did similar the first year. We didn't go to Halloween Horror Nights together the first year.
We met for Mardi Gras.
Was it Mardi Gras? Okay.
It was, yeah, but it was like I think you guys were in and out for like an evening,
Yeah,
I
it
believe.
was fairly quick. But
Yeah.
that's another fun thing too, is people that travel in groups, and I don't know if you've experienced this or not, and is it takes forever to do anything because you got to
Oh,
get this, you got to get that, and then somebody inevitably gets their feelings hurt.
yes.
They don't get what they want, or they're late, or this or that, or then the kids are upset, or this or that. So we try and travel with couples or
Hmm.
groups that it's like, look, we're going to meet here, and we're going to meet here. If you want to go do your own thing, cool. We're not going to get our feelings hurt. We'll try to
Yep.
do this, we'll do that. It's just it should always be low key and fun. It shouldn't be a stressful thing to go have fun. That doesn't make any sense.
It worked very well for us, if you recall, because we hung out the pool for a bit. We separated for a while. We went back into the HHN.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like, hey, we'll see you guys later. You guys went one way, we went another. Next day, it's like, hey, let's meet up. Okay, cool. And that's what
Yeah.
we did. It's simple, and it's not a big deal. People just got to calm down.
Yeah, they do, and no hard plans. It was like, okay, we know we're doing this tonight. Let's see. So the first night we separated, and neither of us stayed that long at Halloween Horror Night. We didn't know that at the time, but we both couples went in early. The second night we were there till it almost closed because we were all having fun and just going and running. We didn't plan that specifically either day. It just happened
No,
to work out that way.
and we ran hard.
Oh, man, I was so sore the next day. Oh my! I think where did we get 11 or 12 miles or something like that? Des
Yeah.
sitting over there giving me thumbs up, and she loves Halloween Horror Nights. She's
I would have never guessed.
yeah, that's his favorite time of the year. So that was the year I figured out that my coffee cup is worth like $50 on eBay. The one I drink out.
No way.
It's from 30 Years, 30 Fears. It's from 2021.
Okay.
And it's just my regular morning coffee cup. But somebody told me they saw it on the podcast and told me, they said, that's on eBay. Hey, you can get your coffee cup's $50. It's like, holy shit. So we're not the only ones that like Halloween Horror Nights, but now there's such a collectible push for it. I don't know if it's going to be that stuff's going to be worth as much, but I still drink my coffee out of it because it's nothing's more fun than sitting at the table on Christmas morning with your gore all over your scary clowns all over your coffee cup.
As you should.
Seems normal in our house, as if normal is anything.
It would be probably normal here as well, I'm sure.
So tell us what else. Tell us what else you do. One of the things that you shared on here, and I want to hear this story. you said you dropped Easter eggs from your helicopter. Give us the logistics. I'm assuming they were plastic because that just seems sadistic to drop regular boiled eggs on kids.
It sounded like a good idea. No. So
I think there was an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati.
that was turkeys, and they were
turkey.
frozen still. Or no, it wasn't frozen. As God is my witness, I swore turkeys could fly. That's what it was.
Oh my God. For all of those of you that are not Gen X, just go look it up on YouTube. It's one of the funniest clips you will ever see.
Every Thanksgiving we watch it no matter what. So anyway, the helicopter story. I had just got past my private pilot's license at the time, and the gentleman I referred to, who was my Yoda of instructing, he did a lot of work with different churches throughout the area, and he said, "Hey, we got to do this egg drop. We need to test it out. We got to figure it out, and we're going to do it at this field." I'm like, "Okay, so let's do all the logistics, all the planning." And he worked with me the whole way through it, going, "Okay, well, we got to figure this out. We got to figure that out." So we figured if the helicopter was doing 70 knots and I was at 75 to 100 feet off of the deck, I could drop these plastic eggs, and we tested it multiple times to make sure, but they would drop these plastic eggs out, and they would land and not break open because we had taped them. And the kids could, as soon as we passed, the kids were called, and they could all run out on the field and get their eggs from the helicopter guy. So the plan comes together. We had two 55-gallon containers, one on each side of the helicopter. The very front was mesh, so that when we pulled from inside the cockpit, the doors opened up on the back of it. All that air blowing through pushed the eggs out. We created a mini bomber, basically, with a helicopter.
So many ways that this could go wrong.
I know, it's so many things. But we tested every step of the way, and thankfully he was an aircraft engineer. So thankfully it wasn't, duct taped and rednecked. We were good with that. So we're flying along all fat, dumb, and happy, and we get this set up, and I go and do the first pass around, and there is literally, it's a football field. It's a building, a football field down, and then a set of houses on the far end. And I'm thinking, "John, you didn't tell me about this." And he goes, "Well, you're gonna fly it." So I come in over top of this building, and I'm doing 70 knots, which is about almost 80-ish miles an hour, 85-ish, over top of the building at 10 feet. I couldn't have been more than 10 feet. As soon as I cut off the top of the building, I dropped down to probably about 25 feet off the deck, over top of these. The kids are on either side, so they're free and clear. There's nobody to worry about. We bomb the field with these eggs, and then I have to yank up on the controls and pull us up and over top of these people's houses on the other side. And it looked like something out of a dang movie at the end of it.
Isn't that the plot to Maverick?
It sounds like it, I know. But yeah, literally, it was over the building, drop in, drop the eggs, up and around, and brake hard left and around. And it was the most fun flying I had in a long time. So yeah, I dropped Easter eggs, but we did it with style.
That sounds fun. That's awesome. That sounds like a fun game. And hopefully
Yeah,
the kids
absolutely.
enjoyed it too. I bet that was kind of scary though, watching that standing there on the field.
The kids, actually, it was funny because when we banked hard left, we could look over our shoulders and see out the back. And those kids swarmed that field. As soon as we were clear, they were all running into that field. It looked like a madhouse. There had to have been probably 500-600 kids doing this thing.
That's awesome. And that's a lot of eggs in two 55-gallon drums too.
Yeah, we had a ton of them. Thankfully, I didn't have to pack them all. Somebody else did all that. I just flew the mission.
Flew the mission. Operation Egg Drop is going. So can you tell us about one of your favorite times flying, if that was not it?
Okay. Favorite times flying. So I actually, amazingly enough, I wasn't flying this particular trip, but we had a situation where there was a young man that was autistic, and they had won a ride with our helicopter group. And I was loading helicopters that day. I wasn't flying, and I walked over to the pilot and I said, "Listen," I said, "what we need to do is we need to get this gentleman up, get him in a hover, and see what happens. And if not, bring him down. We'll get him out of the helicopter." Because this guy was, the young man was terrified. He had severe autism. It was very tough on him. And we put him in the helicopter. He hovered. He brought it back down, and I leaned back in, and we had a conversation with the parent, and then picked it back up, and they flew him around in a circle and brought him back. And when that young man came out of the helicopter and he wrapped up on me because he was so excited and he kept going, want to fly again, want to fly again, want to fly again. That's why I really fly a lot of times, is because the reaction of children, they love it so much, and it's a mystical machine to them. And they just, it's the coolest feeling. That's one of my favorites. The second one isn't as exciting, but it's we were flying in from Wildwood, New Jersey, and my apologies, I'm going to reroute. Even better story. We were flying from York, Pennsylvania to Key West, Florida, delivering a helicopter. I was flying along. I stopped for gas in Miami, and we're flying A1A, the Route 1, all the way from across all the islands getting to Key West. Needed a place to sit down in case the engine quit, so there's a bridge. I'll sit it down there. I'm not swimming with the fishes. It's not happening. So we flying along all fat, dumb, and happy, and I have to call Key West Naval Station because as you're going through the islands, Naval Station Key West is before Key West International Airport. So you have to call to fly along their airspace. So I call, and they give me permission. They're really nice. They're really great. And they're like, "Do you mind if we use you for target practice?" Excuse me, what? Come to find out, they had two F-18s in the air, and they were trying to pinpoint the helicopter as it was going by so that they could find it in the weeds. And that's what they were doing. They had no ammunition, no armament. And the guy even was really fun about it. He's like, "Look, they're just targeting you. They're not going to do anything. They just want to see if they can find you." I'm like, "Cool. You want me to do some circles? What do you want me to do? I'll be here for you. That's cool." He was like, "Yeah, just keep flying along all fat, dumb, and happy. Have a good time. Just stay where you're going. Do what you're doing. We'll do our thing, and then I'll call you when you're clear." I'm like, "Thanks, man. That's cool." I got to hang out and have the Navy target my aircraft without having to be on the wrong end of it.
With permission.
With permission. And then, I got to land at Key West after spending 2 days in a helicopter flying it down there from Pennsylvania.
That sounds like a terrible life. Terrible story.
Oh, it was horrible to have to fly down Daytona Beach at 200 feet. It was just terrible.
How'd you get home?
Commercial aircraft.
Oh, you had to go to the airport.
Well, I landed at the airport and I spent the day at Key West, that day in Key West. Then I spent the night at the guy who I flew down there. I stayed at his house. The next morning, I went to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning, jumped on a plane, and was back in Baltimore in 2 hours. It took me 2 days to get it down there by helicopter and 2 hours by commercial jet.
That's kind of like taking moving a boat by waterway as opposed to putting it on a trailer and shipping it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hell of a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, and we had a blast. There was a lot of gas used on that flight, but hey.
I can't imagine. I had a buddy of mine that moved his houseboat from, I think it was Key West where he bought it, up to Jacksonville, and they decided to sail it. And he said the worst part about the trip was the gas bill.
Oh yeah,
it was terrible.
We had, you got to figure, we had two 28-gallon tanks, and we filled both of them each time we landed, and we landed every 2 hours flying down.
So you never really had to worry about having to go pee.
No, you had enough stops. And hell, I'm in a helicopter. I'll stop at a parking lot and pee. I don't care.
You really land a helicopter anywhere, or do you have to have some kind of special permission for that?
You do. You have to have permission. If you're landing off an airport, you have to have the property owner's permission to land there.
Gotcha.
That is, unless you're declaring an emergency, that's the only way that you can land is it's by permission. It's fine.
But you can get the owner's permission. Okay, so that I didn't know if there was...
Yeah, I have a form for that because I've landed at a couple people's places and I didn't want to get my butt in a ring or so. Yeah. Here's the form. Fill this out. I'm good. Okay, cool. I'll land at your place and get you.
Yeah. Like, yes, I'll come get you. We need to make sure it's legal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to keep my license. Sorry, spent a lot of money to get it.
Well, it's been great talking to you. It's been almost an hour. Time always seems to pass whenever we talk. I think we did a Zoom a while back and it was supposed to be 30 minutes. We ended up talking for an hour and a half.
It does happen.
I want to make sure this episode actually gets listened to. So I want to ask you this question. I want you to, and then I'm going to ask you two. One, I want you to leave us with. But the first question is, you guys travel a lot. You've been married for a long time. You're still very happy together. So if you were to give somebody some travel advice that's just starting or is actually taking the advice that we gave in this podcast, what would be your top couple of tips for them traveling together, for them starting to travel together?
Just as a couple.
either as a couple or as a family? Just the number, couple of top things that help relieve stress in traveling. You wish you'd known.
Organize in advance. And what I mean by that is we have a spreadsheet for when we travel. So I literally know that if I have 8 days, I know exactly what I need for 8 days. Um, and it covers everything from medications, it covers everything from toiletries, whatever we need. I have a spreadsheet for that. That's my number one way of killing stress because we're pre-planned. We have everything. We know we've got everything. So that's a big one. The second one is do your homework. And do your homework will save you a lot of problems in the long run. Simple things like, oh, I think that we'll just wing it and go to this restaurant. And then you get there and find out you can't get in that restaurant till 9:30 at night, and you're hungry at 6. I guarantee you're going to have a couple that's going to be angry by the time that comes around. So that's planning is everything. Planning is the number one key for us to stay happy. And third, compromise the hell out of everything. Be ready and willing and wide-eyed. I think that's a good way to do it. Just do it. You could go and see something and go, you know what, that sounds like crap and I don't want to do it. Do it. You know what? You might find out you like it. And hell, you might even be really good at it.
I like number 3. I'm gonna share we travel totally opposite.
I know, because we keep reservations and you don't.
Yeah, I think the running joke is, we made those reservations like we were going to keep them.
Yeah.
So we okay, Des does the homework on the places. She researches the hell out of the places, and I'm pretty easygoing. I'll do whatever. I usually don't care. It's like if there's something I want to do, I'll tell her we'll go do it. But as a normal rule, I just like to have fun, go out there, and I talk to everybody. So if there's people there, I'm good.
Right.
We don't have a spreadsheet for when we travel, but we bought duplicates of everything, so we stay packed.
Yeah.
And then the night before, we've usually had a couple of drinks, and then we just fill the rest of the suitcase with whatever the hell we think we might need in there. And so we get there with a lot of what we need, but usually we forget something stupid. So, or Des will show up with 15 pairs of boots in July
Because you need them.
and not wear any of them because we don't keep reservations, although we do make them. We are very diligent. We make them, don't generally keep them because, oh, well, hey, we managed to get into this restaurant or that restaurant. But it's
Right.
not stressful for us, and we've been married similar amounts of time. This is the way we've worked out that we travel. We do. I'm a fly by the seat of your pants guy. I'll show up.
Mhm.
Let's have some fun. Let's figure out what the locals are doing. Let's go make this happen. She's very much planning, but not to the rigid. And we've come to that balance over the years. I couldn't teach our travel. Your tips,
Right.
if for anybody that's listening, follow his tips. Don't follow mine. They don't work. They like, wait
He's
a minute,
not
yes, they
wrong.
do. They work. She's getting indignant over there. Okay, they work, but any normal couple would fight like hell to travel the way that we do. They're very organized, and it's a very good way to travel, especially on a cruise.
Oh yeah, you got to be real careful for us. Well, one thing I haven't said is that I'm diabetic, so I have to plan everything.
Yeah, you do.
So when it comes to the cruise life, especially, oh my God, if I forget something, you just can't run to the store to get it. So
And you might be able to hit a drugstore at one of your layovers or at one of your stops, but then you're taking.
yeah, but my Spanish sucks, so it doesn't help.
Last cruise I went on was to Alaska. Turns out they speak English in Alaska.
No way, do they?
They do. Who knew? It's crazy. It's kind of like going to Texas.
That's a thing. Okay.
Or growing up in New Mexico. Oh, well, do you have your green card, or do you have to have your passport to go there? It's like it's New Mexico, folks. It's been a state since the 50s.
I literally saw somebody said, I'm moving out of the country and I'm moving to Hawaii.
Or the people that think Alaska and Hawaii sit right beside California because that's
because that's how it's on the maps.
follow their travel tips. I'm not going to give you travel tips from Flint and Des. We'll put ours up there and we'll just label it a parody. It'll be the absolute truth, but it'll be a parody. Do you do you use the drawers in the hotel room?
Okay, so that's an interesting thought. If we're staying for more than 4 days, yes.
Told you it's a 4-day rule, Des.
And it's literally the first thing that happens is Pam calls down and goes, "I need extra towels." And I'm looking at her like, "Why do you need extra towels?" And she puts towels down in every single dress drawer and then puts our clothes in there. She is that specific.
Wow. Okay. I'm not like that. Well, we pack in the same suitcase, but it's annoying to dig through somebody else's clothes to get yours.
I get that. Yeah.
So, but I won't use the drawers unless we're staying for more than 3 or 4 days, and then I'll put my stuff in the drawers, and she'll still continue to dig through the suitcase. Just at that point, she's only irritated with herself. She's not irritated with me with my clothes.
Love it.
But yeah, when we go to the hotel, we move in. Yeah, this is our home for the next couple of days.
Oh yeah.
We're
First thing I do is get my charger out and I get the speaker out. We've got tunes. We're ready to go.
yeah. Oh, and turn the same repetitive show off on the TV.
Oh God.
We forget sometimes.
Welcome to Universal Orlando Resorts. Here we have the water slide. Here we have this. It's like, thanks. I know where everything's at.
Thank you.
I think I've been to that thing 12 times. Stop the video.
Turn off the TV. Does anybody ever actually watch the TV in the hotel rooms? I wonder. I don't know.
I've used it to fall asleep to. But that's about it. Normally, our rule, it's the same rule we use on cruises, is that the hotel rooms to sleep, shower, and store our crap. That's basically what it is. And then we're out doing stuff. There's a reason we're on vacation. We need to see everything and do everything.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go have some fun. Let's go figure out what's going on.
Yes.
Halloween Horror Nights is usually a little bit of a different trip, especially if it's a 4 or 5 day trip, because there's one of those days where we don't do crap. We might log down because it's the long night of Halloween Horror Nights, and it's just we're so tired and sore. It's like,
oh yeah,
you're up till 2 or 3 in the morning by the time you get settled down and back to your room. Yeah, this last time I don't think we even left the hotel room. We got up at 11:50. I went down and got something to eat, brought it back to the room. We went back to bed until after dark.
Yeah. Sorry we wore you out. I apologize.
Oh no. That your time we were up the next day. It was it was the end. It was the end. We did another marathon like that, and it was a Saturday. We knew we weren't going into the parks anyway because it was so crowded, and it was the last night or the second to last night of Halloween Horror Nights. It's like, yeah, we're not missing much, and it's too cold to swim. Never mind.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, I'm coming down and there's a cold front coming through. I just looked at the temperature. It's going to be like 70 degrees if we're lucky when we come down.
You got to push through, man. You got to push through. They don't close.
I'm getting in the pool.
It's 60.
I'm getting in the pool.
You're Philadelphia. You guys swim in the 50s anyway up there. What are you talking about?
Hell no. Up here.
I was always that guy that wore shorts all the time. How cold it is. I still do. But when we were at the store the other day, I got another pair of sweatpants. Des goes, "Are you all right?" I said, "Look, I'm old enough now that my feet get cold, and if my legs get cold, my feet get cold. I don't even care anymore. If I'm working, I'll wear shorts. Otherwise, I'm putting these on. I'm ready to be comfortable."
There you go.
So you make different choices as you get older, but you should, and I want to leave it with this, and then I'm going to ask you to follow up on this. This is the second question, and we could swap these silly stories all the time. Don't wait. If anybody's listening to this, do not wait until you're retired to do all the things that matter to you. Start planning to do them now. Take small vacations, plan those big vacations, because nothing sucks worse than waiting your entire life to do something and then either not having the money, the time, or the ability to do it. And we've just spent an hour talking about travel and different things, about truly chasing our dreams. And even though Rick believes that he just started chasing his dreams, he's really been doing it the whole time. It just hasn't dawned on him yet. It will, as he starts chasing them and realizes now he has more fun. I'm waiting for that conversation. Why didn't I do this 10 years ago? I don't understand. But don't wait, guys. It's plan for it, save for it, spend some money on it. Don't be irresponsible, but make the only thing you really are going to have when you get older is your memories. And the more of them you make, the more stories you will have, the more full of a life you will have. So that's my take on this. And Rick, I'm going to ask you to follow up with that. If you're going to give some advice about what travel has done for you and your relationship and your family over the years, what would you tell your younger self?
I don't want to be morbid about it, but you can be taken out tomorrow. And the thing is that people need to realize I am living proof of you need to go and do things. You need to see things. I was diagnosed with a kidney condition when I was 28 and given that, you could have a stroke at any point in time. And that, I'm a medical miracle and I'm still going. So, as long as I keep medical miracle going, we're good. But what happened is that set me on a course of stating that I personally need to go and do it now. I am not going to have that ability at some point in time where I'm going to be sitting on a porch looking out going, I wish I could have. It's not going to happen. That's not even in my thought process or vocabulary. It's never going to be, I wish I could have. I have a list of places I want to go, a list of things I want to do, and I will never accomplish that list, but I sure as hell going to try because I want to go and see things. I want to do things. I want to be able to go, you know what? I was hanging out with those stingrays in Grand Cayman and holding the damn things, and it was the most awesome thing ever. Or I was scuba diving off of the coast of Cozumel, and you know what? I was cruising along, and I got to see a giant lobster at 60 feet underwater that's been there forever and a day. Nobody even knew he lived there, and I was just chilling, just getting to check that out. How many people get to say that kind of stuff? And that's the thing. People are afraid to take that extra little step. My dumbass has gotten in a tank with sharks. So you gotta try and do anything. The Tampa Aquarium, I'm a certified tank diver, and I dove the Tampa Aquarium in their shark tank. So if you ever get to Tampa and you go to the shark tank, I dove that tank with sharks swimming around. We have video to prove it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you gotta do it. Just freaking do it. I don't make a ton of money. I don't live an extravagant life. I am not going to ever be house poor because I have a house that has a roof over my head, heat and food, and it's not going to be a mansion, never will be. I've got a place that my family can come to and visit. Doesn't have to be ridiculous. But at the end of the day, that leaves me the extra money to go do that day trip that I wanted to do, to go see that festival that I wanted to see, and write it down ahead of time. Go look out on Facebook under events. Go look under Google. Go say, you know what? I've always wanted to see something. Find out when it happens, and then set up, line up, and do it. Stop waiting. Get it done.
I got nothing.
Okay, let me get off the box. I'm sorry, I'm on the box here.
No, that's fine. This is old guys talk to you. That's Oris. I did not. If you're listening to this, I did not mean to steal your title. Sorry, brother. Listen, guys, if you are not following the podcast, you're going to start seeing a lot more content like this. Also, we are launching this week the OMU Business Accelerator version of the podcast. It's another episode that's going to be coming out each week where I'm talking with business guys about how to build their business. The Old Man Energy podcast is not changing. We are just adding additional value because I want my entrepreneur stuff and that message to not be diluted by my lifestyle message. So make sure you like, subscribe, smash that bell, so that you are notified every time a new episode drops, and follow me on social media because we get new and different stuff every time. And if you want to see some more of these shenanigans and what we've been up to together and individually, well, I'm going to post Rick's links down below. Make sure you follow his new YouTube channel, which is, what is it? Opa's World.
Opa's World. Yep.
All right, we'll put that link out there as well. There's going to be some good stuff coming up. Thank y'all for joining us and sticking with us as we walked down travel lane. Love y'all. Peace.
Peace.